And Toni came out with guns blazing. Oh my, what a mess we've got here. What a mess we've got here. And let's take a moment to reflect on this thing with Toni. Kroos, refuting Ramón Álvarez de Mont. It's a bit of a complicated episode, and I have something to say. And then the imminent signing, it's about to be made official in the next few hours. Chelsea, the FA Cup runner-up, which lost to Guardiola's Manchester City today, but won the Club World Cup last year, has signed Xabi Alonso. This is what Fabrizio Romano just said, and I think David Ornstein as well. And, well, that's it. Just waiting for it to be confirmed. I don't know if tomorrow, I mean today, with the emotions still raw from a sporting standpoint. About this Nightingale guy, or whatever his name is, they weren't going to do it today. But anyway, someone has already said it, and it's not official, I insist, and they've already started announcing it out there. Xabi Alonso at Chelsea, be careful, because there are people saying he just took whatever came along, the world champion, and on top of that, they probably offered him a lot of money because they don't offer little, but he's also going to a complicated club. All right, let's get to it. Let's start now. Welcome, Madridistas. How are you all doing? Well, everything started in the morning. Don Antonio grabbed his phone, came out swinging, and said, I'm going to start setting people straight here, right? He refuted Ramón with this information. We'll talk about it now and what that video was, because he wasn't the one who broke the news. But this leads to the reflection that sometimes we have to be very careful. And Ramón is the first one who knows it. And right now he's probably saying, wow. But really, it could have happened to any of us, right? We have someone on the channel who says something, and I've also made that mistake sometimes of putting a headline out there when it's actually someone else saying it, right? You say it, then face the consequences, right? But in this case, it was actually someone else saying it, but anyway, and then another account denied it. I don't even remember what it said, but it was a really strange account, and it was just spouting nonsense. The thing is, he posted lie and lie in 2 tweets, right? Both that person and Ramón have deleted the tweet. Ramon's tweet was the YouTube video titled Kroos is trying to convince Klopp to coach Real Madrid. He made the video with Joaquin Maroto, right? With Joaquin Maroto, who usually has good information about Real Madrid, but he's also made his mistakes, just like everyone else, right? Like everyone. And that's that's the risk journalists take, and then they get absolutely hammered, of course. And YouTubers, and some of us are journalists, well, we also take hits. Me, it's true that I mean, I don't break exclusives like Ramón does, but they still come after you anyway, right? Because there's also someone who posts here in a tweet says, oof, that must have hurt. Look at what Ramón has become. That's what he says. And the rest of the hustlers. And he included me there, right? Also here, me and Iñaki too. Anyway, I remember this day, the day of this video of Ramón. It was a talk. He did 2 talks with Joaquin Maroto. What happened? I think something happened to Ramón, or something happened to Ramón that could have easily happened to me. Day about Ramón conversations. And to mention here, and I read your comments, that we were really excited about the possibility of Klopp actually coming. This was before it was later said that Klopp had already said no. About Mourinho, well, it was clear. And in fact, it's very clear. And we were saying, man, can you imagine, dude, Kroos convincing Klopp to coach Real Madrid with Kroos as his assistant? Our mouths were watering, right? But of course, it was more of a wish than anything else. And in fact, in the video, Maroto said that Kroos was going to join Real Madrid, and that, on the other hand, they wanted Klopp. Well, I think both things are true. That Kroos is going to join Real Madrid, that he's in that process, and that Madrid wanted Klopp, or at least reached out to Klopp. Both things are true. But I remember that in the conversation, Maroto said, well, and besides, they're very good friends, which I think is also true. I'm not sure if they're close, but they spend summers in Palma de Mallorca. And as Maroto said in that video, when Klopp's phone rings and Kroos calls him, it doesn't say Kroos, it says Toni. Which is a very graphic way of saying, well, they're neighbors, they're friends, right? Or at least they're on familiar terms. And of course, from that moment on, when he said that without any solid factual basis of saying, hey, I know for a fact that they've talked, I mean, I know for a fact that they've talked. Sorry, let me rephrase that. I know for a fact that they've talked, and I can say that Toni Kroos is indeed trying to convince him. Maroto didn't say that in the video. In fact, they both ended by saying, "Can you imagine? It would be great, right? She's a friend, so we can't believe she wouldn't talk." And I think I remember that they also mentioned in the video that, well, the most likely thing is that if Kroos joins Real Madrid, it will be in a position where he has authority. And especially on the sporting side, it would be some kind of, we'll see what it ends up being, sporting director. So logic suggested that, look, if Klopp is hesitant, then who better than Toni? It was more of a wish than anything else. But something happened to Ramón. I think that could have easily happened to me because, in fact, it has happened to me. I mean, what happened to Ramón could have easily happened to me. If in a video with Maroto he says this to me, maybe I would title it the same way, you know? I think, but it's also a bit easy to say in hindsight, you know? Maybe it wouldn't have hurt to say Kroos would be trying to convince Klopp to coach Real Madrid. And that would be is a conditional that I've used before, but I have to admit that sometimes I haven't used the conditional and just went ahead. Even if I later add according to so-and-so, right? I remember that one piece of news we gave here on the channel was months before Madrid signed Mbappé, when we talked about the deadline that Real Madrid had given Kylian. And, well, it ended up happening, right? I can say that it's the only big one we reported well in advance, and in the end, it happened. It happened. It came true. And I think I remember that I did state it as a fact, right? I didn't use the conditional because I took the risk. But it's true that maybe some news that someone else reports, since you see how things are, well, it happens. Anyway, like with Mourinho. Mourinho is coming back, but since so many people are already saying it, and I didn't put out that Mourinho would come back, I mean, it happened to me. It happened to me, okay? And some people might be saying now, but you guys never learn. You have to, well, yeah. We do have to be a bit more careful about that. Honestly, that's how it is. That's how it is. It depends, since the YouTubers are really laying into us. Oh, because you're this and that and whatever, you just want the money from the views. Man, everyone here has their own job. Come on. And this is mine. I've worked for TV stations, for radio, for newspapers. Now I'm doing this. I don't rule out going back to all the other things at some point. I'd have to be really convinced and all that. And this is my job. I've always told you that, right? And it's true that we're kind of in the era of clickbait. And when there wasn't clickbait, newspaper headlines were the same. Because back then, what getting clicks is now was getting you to go to the newsstand and buy the paper. And the headlines are always aggressive and bold. But for a logical sales reason, for a commercial reason, which sometimes does, it's true, slightly compromise the ethical side of journalism and information. And it's something we've all fallen into. It's easy to fall into. It's easy to fall into it. That's why I sympathize with Ramón, but more than as a friend, well, also as a colleague, even though Ramón isn't a journalist, but as a sort of colleague in the profession, because Ramón is doing journalism. In fact, I'll say something else. Let me make a quick aside. Ramón has some amazing information, really amazing, about Madrid. Many of the things he said have ended up coming true. The Mbappé thing, for example. He's been ahead of a million things. He's gotten a million things right, but it's true that he made a mistake, like with Mbappé in early 2022 when he said he had already signed and everything, that it was already done. And now this, well, you know, whoever takes big risks can also end up making a mistake. But the thing is, well, in the world we live in, he gets penalized too harshly for this. I mean, he's had these two, right? He's had a lot of successes, but these two will stand out, especially because in this case, Toni Kroos, I'll get to more messages in a moment, okay? I'm just sharing my thoughts first. In this case, Toni Kroos was the one who denied it. He actually dared to post this. Well, I mean, he doesn't really have to dare. But he said, come on, today I'm feeling bold and I'm going to, and of course, knowing Ramón, this must have, well, he's probably having a tough day today. All my support, as I said. Ramón dares to do a lot of things. He gets a lot of them right. Here, maybe he made a mistake that any of us could have made. Maybe if he'd used the conditional, it would have been fine. That's true. In fact, it's like squaring the circle. It's like everything lines up perfectly here, right? Plus, he doesn't say it himself. Maroto does. But since it excites us, he dares to say it. Well, some of you are probably writing in the comments, like, what are you saying? Stop defending your friend and so on. Well, I know some of you too, and others will empathize a little, even though you'll admit that obviously it's a mistake and all that, but it's a matter of empathy, right? It's a matter of empathy. Also, I mean, what Kroos did seems natural to me too. Hey, they're saying something that's not about him, and he goes and he calls it out, and he's perfectly within his rights. Well, then Ramón, of course, because after all this, Ramón deleted the video, Ramón deleted the video and the tweet. I'm not sure about the YouTube video, but he deleted the tweet. I assume he deleted the video too, since knowing Ramón, I honestly haven't checked. But then Ramón goes and says later that night, this happened a little while ago, about Toni Kroos' denial. He says, as many of you know, I wasn't sharing my own information, but rather that of a long-standing journalist very close to Real Madrid and its president, who is convinced that what he said was true. Everything happened on my channel, and of course, I accept Tony's message and whatever you all want to say about it. Look, I know Ramón personally. He's a really good guy and one of the most polite people I've met. He doesn't bother anyone, which might be why people hassle him, and that really makes me feel bad. That Ramón gets picked on so much. Anyway, that's also a sign that you're doing your job well despite what happened today, but you are... Well, look, right now we're criticizing Mbappe or Vinicius a lot for many things and so on. I mean, let's see, what famous person in their field or someone who's really good at what they do doesn't get as much praise as harsh criticism? Well, this happens to the best. What happens to the best? The more polite you are, the more it bothers people. They say, look, on top of that, the guy's polite. They go after him with everything, right? Well, anyway, it just makes me really sad. The thing is, Ramón says this, and listen, he answers Toni Kroos, but not as a reply to his tweet, no. I'm not going to read the comments aimed at Ramón because some of them are terrible, really terrible, from very mean people, seriously. Then Toni Kroos comes in and says, es mal informadas, es simplemente mal periodismo. And there's already enough of that, especially when it comes to information that creates expectations among fans. It would be nice to get it right at least once in a while. Well, here we should tell Toni Kroos that Ramón has been right many times. When he says it's bad journalism, of course, he's perfectly within his rights. And besides, the first sentence is strong. Spreading false information, whether invented or coming from poorly informed sources, is simply bad journalism. Ramón, his mistake here was trusting Joaquin Maroto, who is a journalist with a long career. Some will say, well, yes, he's like Jose Felix, whatever. But I met Maroto, and back in the day, he was really involved with Madrid. Joaquin Maroto worked at Real Madrid, and I think he usually gets very good information from Florentino. He usually has very good information. Here, Tony, whom I understand perfectly, might not know Ramón. He doesn't have to know him. Well, he's taking it a little too far. But we should tell him, well, that Ramón usually has good information. And a mistake like this, even if it's up to him to call him out for it, maybe that's a bit excessive. That's what I think. Understanding the German, understanding him perfectly. But Ramón couldn't be more polite when he answers and says, I'm responsible for what is published on my channel, so I apologize, because Ramón could have said, wait, man, the other guy told me. Because I believe in him, don't come at me about it. I mean, he could have said that, and yet he didn't. Ramón, the man, goes and says this. I think there hasn't been any other response here. Let's see if Tony has posted another tweet about this. No, he hasn't posted another one. Okay, he's left it. Anyway, like I said, this could have happened to any of us. And we also accept all the criticism in that sense, as long as it's respectful. And so on, and without trying to hurt anyone. And I've seen a lot of that, man. And well, as collateral damage, I've taken some hits there too. Well, Iñaki, anyway. You have to get used to this too, I'm telling you. Well, this is what Fabrizio Romano is saying. Xabi Alonso has agreed to be the new coach of Chelsea. He's already dropping his "here we go." The deal is ready to be finalized. The official announcement is being prepared in the next few days. But anyway, Xabi Alonso has said yes. Gigi was saying, since we follow each other on Twitter, he says he just went with the first thing he saw. I think Gigi is a good guy, but let's not get carried away. He grabbed the first thing he saw since Liverpool wasn't offering it to him. Wait, that bit about it being the first thing, come on. I mean, you guys wouldn't go to the world champion team, regardless of the season they've had this year, with an incredible salary. I mean, can you really afford to say, come on, you tell Liverpool, I'll wait another year and go without pay for another year? No, sorry. Sure, Xavi probably has some money saved up, but come on, sometimes we see life as way too easy. I mean, that's not how it is. That's not how it is. For me, he took a great job with the world champion and a top team. They haven't been among England's best this year and have had many problems, as it's a very unique club. Imarexka left for reasons I never understood. It must have been serious. They signed a guy who, well, things turned out the way they did. And then on top of that, it's a club that has 259 players spread out all over the world. Chelsea is a really weird club. Chelsea is a really weird club, but they have some very, very useful players. I mean, this Estebao guy, this Joao Pedro too, who is amazing. And then Enzo, look, that's collateral damage right there. If anyone wanted Enzo to come, I don't think Xavi will want to let him go. Not a chance, even though he won't be the one to decide, but still. I don't think Estebao is going to the Club World Cup. He'll probably miss it, but they still have a great team, right? And I hope things go well for him, even though there are people who, since they got upset with Xavi, are hoping things go badly for him. I think it's not just that I hope things go well for him. I actually think things will go well for him, although the club is special. You know, I have to say it, the club is special. Well, guys, that's it for now. Hope everything goes well for you. Give it a like if you enjoyed it. This video. Please subscribe to the channel, comment, share, and that's it. See you in the next one. Bye.